Return to that beautiful music you used to hear on FM years and years ago. Elevator music, beautiful music, back on FM radio. Easy nights, tonight at 10 on Cool Jazz 106.7.
Oh yeah.
Teysha, T-E-Y-S-H-A. Teysha. Great music called Smoothie Street. Smooth afternoon on GJRB Online. Gary J. Russin with you in the afternoon on a beautiful sunshiny day here in Clinton. Temperatures reaching about maybe 59 degrees at the KROS Tower. And many other are about 63 degrees along Mayor Farm. So we got some beautiful, fabulous spring afternoon here in Clinton, Iowa, here on GJRB Online. We'll take a look at our weather on the 5s coming up here in just a few minutes. And give you a local rundown of our weather forecast. We'll do that again, too, next hour. And take a look at what's going on nationwide in our weather. We'll have a sports page update coming your way here soon as well as we get into the afternoon. And we'll run the sports page update. I'm going to kind of postpone that I'm going to push that aside for just a little bit longer past the hour here. And we'll have another sports page update for you. Gives you a rundown on just some sports headlines and scores and stuff like that coming up. Speaking of which, sports page coming back to GJRB Online under our new spontaneous programming. And you never know when you're going to hear GJRB Online. I'll give you our program schedule coming up for what's going to be on the air possibly next week. I've got plans for Radioland coming back on the air. We haven't done Radioland in a while, so we got that coming back. And I have some new programs. And, of course, you are listening to the GJRB Schedule Update podcast, and that's been pretty much what we have there. And we'll take a look at that. Right now, though, let's take a look at what's going on Weather Nation-wise. Here's Weather Nation.
Thanks for joining us. We are headed towards hurricane season. You can see behind us the last and all of the hurricanes from last season, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up with them because there were quite a few, but we're going through the entire hurricane season here in just a matter of minutes. And, it looks like, again, there are a lot of different forecasts that are ongoing right now for this year's hurricane season. Starts June the 1st, goes through November the 30th. But I'll tell you what, this week he's been in heaven. John Van Pelt has been out with the people from the Hurricane Center, the National Hurricane Center, and he filed this report about this year's season.
Hey guys, it happens every single year. The National Hurricane Center puts together the Hurricane Awareness Tour to bring the airplanes and the people and the technology and the safety information all across America to help us be safer during hurricane season. And not only do we get to see the planes like this one behind me, the P-3 Kermit that flies into hurricanes, we get to see the C-130s from the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunters team. But wait, there's more. The professionals from the Hurricane Center are here to give us all the information we need to be safer when hurricanes move in.
We really want people to focus on the hazards. People are interested in what's going to happen at their house. Don't focus as much on the exact intensity of the storm or the track of the center. Hazards extend hundreds of miles away from the center and hundreds of miles potentially inland from where a storm makes landfall.
So just because you're inland doesn't mean you're immune to the impacts of hurricanes. You can get river flooding, and that can come weeks after the hurricane. So just because the storm is through doesn't mean the impacts are done.
We often hear people not take the tropical storms and even Category 1 hurricanes as seriously, but we have to take each and every storm seriously. Look at those hazards it's going to produce. Back in 2001, we had a tropical storm named Allison, very minimal tropical storm, just barely reached the threshold for it to be named, yet it dumped over 30 inches on the greater Houston area, cost a lot of lives, produced a lot of flooding, so we have to take every storm seriously.
We want you to be safe during hurricane season, absolutely, and obviously we'll keep the information coming to help you do just that. In Charlotte, North Carolina, with the Hurricane Center's Hurricane Awareness Tour, I'm John Van Pelt, and I'll toss it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, John. Again, always appreciative of the National Hurricane Center. And by the way, we have a direct connection with them again this year, and we'll be talking to them periodically when we get storms. My good buddy Ken Graham, who I've known for about 25 years now, is the Hurricane Director, and we often speak to Ken about the seasons and about what's happening. He's got a great take on this year's season, too, and we'll be talking more with him as time goes on. Now, we're talking right now, what is most imminent is not hurricanes, although it's coming in out of the Gulf of Mexico, which is abundance of moisture. Moving back into the state of Texas, specifically from about Houston northward through the early morning hours, we had about 6.5 inches of rainfall over the last 24 hours just to the east of Houston. And and expecting more through the weekend. And certainly we'll be seeing more as time goes on. We're going to end up with waves of energy moving along a frontal boundary that just won't budge overall. And it's very stagnant across the rest of the southeastern United States. So waves of energy going northward. Already had that batch moving offshore from Houston south into southern portions of Louisiana, northern sections of Mississippi and northern Alabama, southern Tennessee from Jackson and I-40 back over to Nashville and I-65. So monitoring those as they move on to the north across I-22. There's very heavy rainfall there. Also back into the Carolinas, western portions of the Carolinas around Asheville near the Biltmore. You'll find some of the heavy rain moving eastward across this region too. Goes all the way up to the north into Hickory and Winston-Salem. Back over to Greensboro into the western edge of Virginia and into central portions of West Virginia around Charleston. Got some big thunderstorms there on I-79 that are moving eastward back over to Elkins and then into Hagerstown, Maryland. A couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms that have been headed east during the day today. We'll continue to follow all that as it works its way eastward. We don't have any warnings showing up at the moment. Some of the heavier rain in eastern New York State. They'll be moving into Boston later on this evening, down to Providence and into central sections of Connecticut as well. So following that as springtime weather, but it's still a little bit wet and a little bit snowy in some places. New Mexico, I was just showing you some snowfall there on the radar a few moments ago, Chelsea.
Yeah, and we're going to be watching for the opportunity for some localized high water in parts of the southwest. Now, we do continue to watch the opportunity for some snow in the higher elevations. You can see the last 2 hours. We do have this upper level low back to the west, and that's what's going to be driving the opportunity for some scattered showers. Here's satellite and radar imagery. You can see there's some rain out north of Flagstaff and parts of Arizona. Back towards Bakersfield, Los Angeles, there's some downpours happening with the center of that low. And then off into the higher elevations, Albuquerque north, you can see how we're trying to get that transition from rain over to snow, and also outside of Denver. The rain, some statistics, the rain that we've had in Las Vegas, you can see is over half an inch. And for the average month of May, we should be nowhere near that, about 1/10 of an inch. So we've seen quite a bit of water the last 24 hours. And we're still going to be monitoring the risk for a little bit more to develop along that center of the low. This afternoon, the opportunity for some melting snow in the higher elevations with those downpours could lead to the opportunity for some high water. Notice the excessive rainfall, although it is just a marginal outlook for some of these states in the southwest. We don't see a lot of rain around here, and when we do, it's like hitting a brick. The ground is so dry that when the rain comes down, it has nowhere to go. It just kind of flash floods. And so we'll be watching the opportunity for some of that, not only on Friday, but as we go into Saturday as well. It becomes a little more widespread on Saturday with the opportunity for those downpours. And then as the low tracks back down to the south and east, that opportunity for some strong storms to produce some heavy rain also moves down to the southeast. You can see the forecast for accumulation really picks up around Albuquerque and New Mexico and southward, but that doesn't mean around Las Vegas we couldn't see some high water, and back towards Los Angeles, Bakersfield as well. So the opportunity for some high water in the southwest, unusual, but we're going to be monitoring that too, as well as the opportunity for downpours to produce some gusty storms. But stay with us. We'll take you back to the weather headlines down in the south central parts of the U.S. with heavy rain that rolled in and more.
And there you go. That's what you got. And they are under a winter storm warning down in New Mexico. Out in New Mexico. And they're going to get... That's strange for that time of year, I imagine, for those people who get... I mean, we're talking about... we should be seeing warmer weather there. And unfortunately, that's not what we're getting. So we're going to take a look at that forecast coming up a little later on here. We'll do another update on your weather coming up. One more last run of all of the national temperatures at 25 past 5 o'clock. And we'll have one more weather forecast for Clinton and all you people listening out here in Clinton, Iowa on our Clinton version of the weather on the fives at about 5:45. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 past the hour on all talk shows, 25, 45 all music shows on GJRB Online. Gary J. Russell with you. Go play some more music. We got 50-minute music hours every hour here on GJRB Online, and 50 minutes straight of nonstop music right after the 5 o'clock news, wrapping up our show for today here on GJRB Online. Back-to-back smooth jazz. Let's get back into it. Here's Stock Rock and Good Luck Jasmine on GJRB. Oh yeah, good Stock Rock and Good Luck Jasmine on GJRB Online. Gary J. Russell with you. Hope you'll stay with me for the next hour, our last hour of our smooth afternoon for today, and I hope you'll tune in. We got some really good stuff coming up in the final hour. to kick back and relax. Take you into the end of the hour with Sweet Street and Brian Cheney. And while that's playing in the background, a reminder that you want to tune in for more great music in the last hour. I've got some new emerging artists, and including some really good stuff from artists by the name of, interesting name here. First of all, we have the Warheads. We haven't played the Warheads in a long, long time. They're one of our newest artists. And haven't really had them on, so it's time. Well overdue for a lot of our SoundCloud friends, and I got some really good jazz from them, so you're going to want to listen to that, including a new artist by the name of Newt Malka alias Sulu Papa. Interesting. A really neat piece of music called Bell Time. It's coming up next hour. And a whole lot more really good stuff, so I hope you'll stay with me for the best of smooth jazz in our last hour of our smooth afternoon here on GJRB Online, including 50 more minutes of non-stop music. So I hope you'll stay with me right after the news, right here on GJRB. Piece of music there to take us out into the next hour. Some more great music coming up next hour as we continue our smooth afternoon here on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Gary J. Russell with you here. Hope you're enjoying the program. It is getting close to the top of the hour of 5 o'clock right now on GJRB. 5 o'clock Central Daylight Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. It is now 3 o'clock Pacific Time. And it is now 4 o'clock in the mountain time zones, where some of those areas are under some interesting weather. We'll take a look at that coming up a little later on. Winter storm watch for like New Mexico. Wow. And some severe weather to the south of us. Marginal risks. We'll take a look at that. And, of course, don't forget to complete rundown of your national weather. Listen to get Weather Nation. And all you got to do is just go into the, if you have a Roku box, just go into the live streams. You'll find a big W there. Weather Nation. Absolutely fabulous people. And bringing you national weather 24/7. Weather Nation. And I have all the news for you to keep you on top of what's happening in the news world, in the weather world as well. So that's it. And you're listening to GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Thanks a lot for tuning into the program, and I hope you're enjoying the best in smooth jazz on our smooth afternoon program here on GJRB Online and here on Spreaker. And thanks a lot for tuning in to Smooth Afternoon right here on GJRB. From America's Heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. GJRB News, wrapping up the news for today here on GJRB at the GJRB News Desk. Here is today's wrap-up of national news. Topping our national news this hour as we wrap up today, taking a look at some of the top news headlines. And topping the news headlines is a lot of money being dug out for the being diverted to the border, according to top Democrats. $1.5 billion President Trump's administration had poised to divert $1.5 billion in Pentagon funds toward more barriers on the U.S. border, according to top Democrats in the Senate's panel that oversees the defense spending. Today, Dick Durbin of Illinois is a ranking member of the Defense Appropriations, said today that the Defense Department will divert $1.5 billion to our military and a big and beautiful border wall. Durbin also said that the Senate Democratic whip did not say what Pentagon program would be cut by the president to build more barriers. And other topping today's news, the governor of Ohio has, and a lot of groups say that there should be changes in the congressional map. Members of the parties have complained about this, but the Ohio governor has decided to make a change in that. The GOP currently controls the process of 12 to 16 congressional seats. Ohio Governor John Kasich and the Secretary of State John Husted, both Republicans, both advanced for the fairer system of determining how the boundaries would be drawn. Both interviews on key Republicans in Ohio General Assembly show some of the little interest in relinquishing the power over the congressional map. State Senate President Larry Ophoff said, as a Republican, Medina said that the authority to draw congressional district lies with the legislature. Fortney stated that the boss is willing to discuss changes, but any attempt to weaken the power of the legislature also weakens the voice of Ohioans who elected their senator and representatives to make these decisions. And those are some of the stories we covered for you this afternoon. And, of course, to keep you on top of what's going on in the GJRB News Desk, of course, you can find all these news stories on the on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and, of course, keep on top of your news through Fox News and all our GJRB news sources, Fox News and Reuters TV. And that's a look at all our news for today. Gary J. Russin, GJRB News, and we're going to have 50 minutes of nonstop music starting now. It's 5:04 Central Daylight. Gary J. Russin with you in our final hour of smooth jazz right here on GJRB Online. In our last hour, we got some more great music, so I hope you'll stay with me. Really good new music, as I mentioned earlier. Really neat piece of music we're going to play for you. And let's start off this hour with Al Jarreau in Morning. absolutely fabulous. Great piece of music. That is Eleanor Rigby. Great hit record for the Beatles, but that's a great jazz cover by Pete Rillick. And great piece of music there for you. On Smooth Afternoon, Gary J. Russell with you on GJRB Online here on Spreaker, playing new emerging artists all the time for you. Hope you enjoy the program wherever you're listening across America. And this group calls themselves the Warheads. It's a good piece of music, too. It's called Diago's Soundtrack. This is Warheads on Smooth Afternoon, GJRB. And you're listening to Smooth Afternoon here on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Gary J. Russell with you, and glad you could be with me today as we enjoy your great smooth jazz. That is a great piece of music. Before that, and we've heard that song before, so we're going to kind of kick that out of there. Let's see. You heard Bell Time. A great piece of music. I kind of like that. That's kind of neat there. And it is great piece of smooth jazz by artist by the name of Newt Mocha Alas, and kind of a foreign name. So